Hello everyone, welcome to day 7 of Upskilling myself. And today was a very hectic day. Um, I was debugging for about 2 to 3 hours, and I didn't get any time for development or practicing backend and learning new things. But yeah, but for the DSA part, we did 4 questions, and one of them was easy and 3 were medium. So in DSA, the day was pretty good. So the first question is majority element, and what we have to do over here is we have been given an array and we have to find the element which has occurred the most number of times. So whenever we see a question of frequency and an array, we use hash map, right? So we are using hash map over here. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to store the elements in a hash map. Then we have to go through the hash map and see if its frequency is more than n by 2. Okay, that's what is asked in the question. Then we get the size of the array. Then we create a map which is of type int and int, which the first int is for the element and the second is the frequency, right? Then we start a loop. We traverse the whole array and store the number and its frequency in the hash map, right? And then we iterate the hash map using the auto iterator, and then check if the second value, which is the frequency, is greater than n by 2. And if it is, then we have to return the element, which is iteration dot first. And in case we don't find an element, like in the array 1 2 3, we don't find an element where there is no measured element, then we have to return -1. In this case, there is 100% a measured element, but just for our safe side. Then the second question is product of array x itself. So what we have to do is we have an array, let's say this array for an example, and we have to output this array. So the element over here would be the product of the remaining elements in the array, right? So as you can see, 24 is the product of 2 3 is 6 and 6 to the 24, right? So to solve this question, we use prefix and suffix. So what we do over here is, first of all, we calculate the prefix of the array, the element, and then the suffix of the element, and we then multiply the prefix and the suffix, which gives the multiplication of all the rest elements, right? So let's take an example of, let's say, 3. We'll take an example of 3. So its prefix is this and the suffix are only 4. So 2 ones are 2 and suffix is 4. So 4 twos are 8. So 8 should be on the second index, which you can see is here. So to calculate prefix, what we do is we start an array from 1 from the first index, not the second, because it's obvious the prefix for the first element won't be there. Then we will initialize an answer array with the size n, and the answer array will be 1 1 1 1 in this case. Then we start the prefix loop. So answer of I, let's take an example of this. Answer of I will be answer of I minus 1, which is this, multiplied by nums of I minus 1. So nums of I minus 1 is 1. So 1 into 1 will be 1. So this will be 1 itself. Then same for the next element, same for the next element. We get the prefix array. Then we do the suffix. We initialize a variable suffix, which is 1. And then we traverse the array backwards. We start from here, n minus 2, and then we iterate. So the suffix is changed. So the suffix is nums of j plus 1. So if we are over here, then this is the suffix, right? And then the suffix will be multiplied with this, and this. And then the suffix is multiplied into the answer array. So that's pretty simple. And then we have to return the answer array. It's very easy. Then the third question is remove duplicates from a sorted array. So what we have to do over here is that this 3 has appeared 2 times, 4 has appeared 2 times. So we have to remove these 2 as well as these 2. We only want the unique elements. So 1 is unique, 2 is unique, and 5 is unique. So to solve this, what we have to do is, so we have to create a dummy linked list and a prev. So the dummy linked list is initialized with 0 and it's pointing to head, and the prev is pointing to dummy. The prev is on dummy, right? So then we traverse the linked list. So while we have head, if the next of head is not null pointer and the value of the next of head is equals to the value of next of head, then we have to get the elements which have the same value. In this case, this 3 3, and then we have to skip the non-unique elements using prev.next is head of next. Else, if there is no duplicate value, then we have to do prev.next, and then we have to increment the head in either of the case. And after all, we have to return dummy.next because dummy was initialized over here and it was pointing to head. So we have to return dummy of next. So the last question that I did was power of x and n. So what we do is we take LL as long, and then we consider n as the binary form. we give the value of n to the binary form. In the case when n is negative, what we have to do is we have to invert the x, and this n value will be same. So we invert the x and the binary form will be minus of binary form, right? Then we create a variable which is double answer, which is equals to 1. Okay, so if the binary is 1, then multiply x in the answer, and always we have to do the square of x, right? So while binary form is greater than 0, we have to take the modulo of binary form with respect to 2, and if it's equals to 1, that is which is a even, then we have to multiply it in the answer. Then we have to get the square of x, and then we have to update the binary form by binary form is equals to binary form divided by 2, and then we have to return the answer. Then for the development part, as I told you earlier, I was debugging a freaking bug which took a lot of time, as well as I had my internship work and did some YouTube stuff, and also the revision of all the DSA problems that I solved previously. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for day 8.